Welcome to Small Arm Solutions. We recently had a viewer request who wanted a video done on cleaning a pistol. So I went out to the range today and fired about 300 rounds out of my USP-40. And what we're going to do today is go over cleaning the pistol. Now, as I said in previous videos, there's many ways to clean pistols. There's many types of cleaning kits. There's many types of chemicals. There's many different ways to go about doing it. So by no means am I saying that this is the only way to do it. This is just merely the way that I clean it. These are merely my chemicals that I like. It is merely the cleaning systems that I like. So I do want to make that clear that I'm not saying this is the only way to do it. But let's go over what we're going to be using. First of all, we're going to be using the Otis cleaning system. This particular system is designed specifically for the .40 caliber pistol. There's numerous kits you can get that handle multiple calibers, but this specific one is designed just for the .40 caliber pistol. The oil that I use is the G96 CLP. This is probably, in my opinion, one of the best all-around CLPs in the industry. It's actually a synthetic. It's called the Mobile 1 of gun oils. It's a synthetic. It's U.S. military issue. It's an excellent CLP. For all of our loyal viewers, we have a program worked out with G96 by putting in our promo code SAS10. You can receive 10% off of any product in the G96 website. The next oil we have is called Croil. I like to use this after I'm done with using a solvent, because the solvent sometimes has properties in it where it will continue eating away at the barrel, because of the ammonia, if you don't deactivate the solvent. So I use Croil for that. The solvent I use here is a military grade copper solvent, manufactured also by G96. It's an excellent solvent. In fact, when you pull the patch out, you'll see the blue. The blue on the actual patch is the breaking down of the copper fouling actually in the barrel. And then I use G96 gun treatment after I'm all done by spraying that on the metal. Basically what it does is it gives you an incredible shield against corrosion. Now, living down here in Southeast Texas where you have really high humidity, I spray all my guns with this, and I've never had any issue with corrosion whatsoever. And I've used this stuff since I was a kid. This has been around for a long time, and it is, for me, it's old reliable. My entire gun collection is sprayed down with this stuff on a regular basis, and that keeps it free from corrosion. And one of the most important things you'll ever use in cleaning any kind of weapon is Q-tips. So what we're going to do is we're going to start going through all this stuff and going through the processes that I do. First thing we're going to do is we're going to make sure this weapon is not loaded. So we're going to drop the magazine, pull the slide back, and we're going to visually and physically inspect the chamber, make sure it's empty, which it is. So disassemble the USP, pull back, slide slightly, remove the slide catch, barrel right off, and the barrel. So now we have our major components. The first thing I like to do is to get the cleaning patch and run a swab through the barrel and actually let it sit. What that does is it allows the solvent to work on the copper, and then I'll actually use the same patch to clean the slide and the frame. One of the most important things we need to look at is actually how you thread the Otis patch. This is not the same as you would do with anybody else's. You can see there's actually three little cuts here. We're going to put it through. We're going to go over, we're going to pinch upward, push it into the slotted tip, pull forward. What this does, it allows us to pull the cable through the barrel and get a full 360-degree tight squeeze through the barrel to ensure we get the most solvent to saturate the barrel. So as we do breech to muzzle. We want the actual crud to come out of the barrel in the exact same direction that the bullet comes out. Again, breech to muzzle. Okay, now that we've got the solvent in there, we're just going to let that soak for a few minutes. I'm going to take this patch off. And I'm going to use that patch to wipe down the inside of the slide. And to the breech face, I want to make sure the breech face is facing down, because I don't want any solvent to go up into the firing pin channel, because that will cause us some malfunctions later. If you actually get solvent inside the firing pin channel, what happens is all that carbon residue that gets into there, the solvent will actually make it harden and it actually will freeze your frame pin in place. I've actually seen this, and you're going to end up having to take it apart and scrape it away. So we're going to wipe down everything that's in there. I'm going to do the same thing with the actual frame itself. Now for the frame, I'll actually take a regular cloth. So now what we can do is we can actually take a cleaning brush. So we take the female end rod, and then we'll take the all-purpose brush. If I can get it out of the package here. And now we'll start going through all the moving parts on the rail system itself. This pistol is actually rather clean because it's brand new. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take a little bit of the G96 and I'm going to spray it on this rag right here, because I just put the solvent on there. I don't want the solvent to cause any damage to any of the components. So this is just going to put a light film of oil on those components to ensure against any kind of rust or corrosion. They do have brushes that you can actually go inside the magazine wall with. You know, I don't really see it getting that dirty being necessary. The Otis cleaning kit that I'm using has every single thing that you would actually need to clean the pistol that comes with it. The only thing that you're going to want to have is a cleaning, cleaning rag. It does come with a 085, which is a general purpose cleaner preservative lubricant. It's not really a CLP. It actually had the 085 has more cleaning properties than it actually does lubrication properties. So it's more for cleaning than it is for actual lubrication. So now we're going to take the brush, and I want this face down like this, because again, I don't want to get that oil up into the frame pin channel. And get inside the rails here too. So I want to take a Q-tip, clean the breech face. Now what I want to do is I want to actually clean the extractor itself. You'll see a hooked little hook here. It's like a sort of a little dental pick. That angle, that enables you to get into these small areas that you normally can't. You can see right here, this little pick enables you to get into these little areas in here. And I want to get right underneath to clean the underneath the extractor there. That's one place where a lot of carbon will show itself. Look in the back. So now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take my Q-tips and clean all the garbage out. You can see all that's coming off. You also, just as a safety check here, most pistols will have a firing pin block here. And what you're going to do is just make sure that that's freely moving. This is more of a safety issue right there. Just to make sure that's moving. Now, the breech face itself, there's another tool that we have here. The ammunition that I just used didn't really have any primer sealants on it, but a lot of the good defense ammunition will. And that primer sealant can actually get caught up on your breech face. So you have this straight tool here. It's a scraper tool, and what that does is it scrapes all the garbage off of the actual breech face itself. So if you had any sealants or anything on there, that would take care of it. Now that I have the actual pistol clean, the next thing I want to do is, because I use solvent on it, I'm going to grab my G96 in the inside and then the outside, rub all the chemical into it, and you want to make sure that it gets on all the metal where I just cleaned with the with the solvent. Again, if you're using CLP, it's not necessary to do this, but this is a dedicated solvent. CLP can be used as a one for everything, but the problem with CLP is it does cleans, lubricates, and preserves. Does them a little bit of each, but it doesn't do any of them great. If you only want to have one bottle of chemicals and that's it, that CLP will work very well, but it's not going to remove copper like a proper copper solvent will. It's not going to preserve like a dedicated preservative will. And it will neutralize this heavy ammonia type solvent. So again, I'm using a dedicated solvent heavy in ammonia, so I want to make sure that I neutralize all that so I don't have any issues with it eating the pistol, eating the metal or the finish. Okay. So now we're just going to look at the spring guide. Actually, this is the recoil reduction mechanism. And all we're going to do with this is we're going to just brush it down with a brush. Doesn't really get dirty. But what I will do with this is I will spray the preservative onto it. Again, what that does, it just keeps everything with a nice preservative on it, anti-corrosion, especially if you're going to be storing it for a while. Now we're going to go back to the barrel. As I said, I let this sit for a little while because I want that copper solvent to eat up that solvent that's in there. Now I'm going to take the actual bore brush. This is a 40 caliber bore brush. Again, breech to muzzle. You want the dirt to come out the same way the bullet does. Now there's no set number on how many times that you would do this. And I do it 4, 5, 6 times, whatever. How much ever I feel like at the time. This being a polygon barrel, you don't shoot lead in it, so when you don't use lead, it's a hell of a lot easier to clean. Okay, we're done with the bore brush. Now I'm going to go back to the patches. Again, we're going to do it the same way. We're going to put that through one of the slots, pinch upward, go through, pull down, and again, breech to muzzle. So as you can see, the ring of garbage that it's taken out. Now, instead of grabbing another patch, I'm going to move to the next slot. So now I'm going to get a whole bunch of unused patch that's clean. To run through it again, I should only use probably 3 of these on the entire gun. Yeah, nice and mirrory clean. And do that one more time. Again, push through, pinch upward, pull through. So beautiful. So now what I want to do is I want to make sure I get all the garbage off of the feed ramp and the sides here, because you will get build up on the feed ramp and the sides from it locking and unlocking. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to spray the outside, because it's got solvent all over it, with G96. And you've heard me talk about wanting to neutralize that solvent. Now I could use the G96 for that as well, but I tend to like using the coil. Again, there's no proper way to do this. This is just the way that I do it. And now this coil will totally deactivate this heavy, harsh copper remover. Run that through a few times, and what that's going to do is first it's going to deactivate the copper solvent, and now it's going to put a nice film in the inside of the barrel, keep it nice and preserved. Don't have to worry about it corroding. So now I have basically, this is a G96 silicone cloth that's got quite a bit of the G96 treatment on there. So I'm just going to wipe down the components. So now what I'm going to do is reassemble. Now for lubrication, what do we do for lubrication? I will show you basically how I would lubricate this pistol. Again, I have my G96 CLP. I'm going to put 1 drop on each rail. And when I cycle that back and forth on the frame, that'll actually go all the way down. And here, I'll put 1 drop on the moving parts. Assemble the pistol. Pull back and forth. Put 1 little drop on the hood there. And there you have it. These G96 cleaning cloths here, these are really nice for, anytime somebody handles your guns. If you're like me, where you're very obsessive compulsive, when somebody touches your guns, you don't want their fingerprints on there. I have one of my closest friends, you would swear his entire system is made up of acid. His fingerprints cause rust. So anytime somebody handles one of my guns, including myself, I will take one of these cloths with that preservative and just wipe all the fingerprints off of it. This stuff is good on any finish, whether it's nickel, whether it's blued, or whether it's anodizing. This will not affect any finish negatively. And after you get the pistol together, you want to do a function check on it. So I just put the magazine back in, pull back. It should lock open in the last shot. Now we'll test out the actual trigger mechanism itself. With it forward, I'm gonna decock it. So I'm going to pull the trigger all the way to the rear. Okay, works on double action. I'm going to hold the trigger to the rear, pull back. Now I release the trigger. Now it should be in single action mode. So we just did a function check. Now this one actually happens to be a variant 1 H&K. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to check the safety. Up, safety's engaged. We'll do it again with the safety, with it decocked, with the safety engaged. Now everything works properly. Again, anytime that you take apart any kind of a weapon, once you put it back together, you want to run it through its full safety checks to make sure that nothing was damaged or disturbed when you did it. For the most part, with these kind of pistols, you're not going to have that problem. But especially if you're depending on these pistols as a self-defense or duty or a military weapon, every time you clean it, you run through a function check. I take weapons maintenance very, very, very seriously. That's why I have the background with OS technology, and I still do. Because I've realized the importance many, many years ago of clean weapons. I've trained soldiers and law enforcement throughout the world on weapons maintenance, whether it be a military rifle or military pistol, law enforcement weapon, or commercial. Regardless of what your use for the weapon system is, if you maintain your weapon properly, not only will it function more reliably, it will last longer. Life cycle and maintenance go right together. It's just like a car. If you don't change your oil doesn't work. What's going to happen to the longevity of your engine? If you don't maintain a weapon properly, the same thing's going to happen. And again, there's plenty of different ways to do it. There's a lot of excellent products out there. Otis Technology offers probably the most complete kits. They are the most complete kits in the industry. I've actually designed some of their kits for some of the weapon systems and had some input in it. So obviously that tells you I take this very seriously for as far as weapons maintenance. The chemicals, again, these are chemicals that I use. This is not saying that these are better than Frog Lube or Break Free or whatever else that you may use that you like. So please keep in mind this is just the cocktail that I like for weapons maintenance. Use whatever works for you, but do it and do it often, especially if you're depending your life on these weapons, whether you're military, police, or this is your daily carry concealed weapon, or it's in your drawer for self-defense for what goes bad in the night. If you have any questions, please feel free to leave me a comment. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this, please click like and please subscribe. Thank you.